Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cait and today we're going to do my 2025 reset. As you can hear, I have been affected by the December flu, cold, whatever has been going around. I have got it and I have been in bed for the last 3-4 days getting myself to feel better, and I sound not so great, so I am sorry about that, and it's probably going to sound even worse given that I'm going to talk a lot in this video, but we push through because I think, like many people who might be watching this video, 2025 comes with these feelings of either inspiration or guilt, and I have been feeling a little bit of both going into 2025. I feel that I have a lot of things that I want to achieve and that I want to do my very, very best in 2025. And I have a lot of ideas about how that's going to look for me. But I also have a fair amount of guilt in the fact that actually the struggles that I was dealing with in 2024, and if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I've been balancing a lot of competing asks, and those haven't gone away. Those are still here, and I need to do some work to make those better. So there is a great and beautiful sense of refresh and enthusiasm that comes with a new year and the idea of a reset. But there is also this sense of, I don't know if guilt is the right word for it, but there is also this sense of maybe a fear or a nervousness about failure that comes with setting goals and setting the new year and maybe reflecting on the last year. So I wanted to do my 2025 reset a little bit differently. I also have some changes that I want to announce about what I want to do in 2025 and how my life is going to look. And I want to be open and honest with you all in that space. So we're going to work through our 2025 resets together, but it's mainly going to be focused on a reset that is, or it's going to be a reset that is focused on sustainable growth or sustainable goals rather than highly ambitious and toxic productivity goals. So first and foremost, I want to reflect on 2024, and I would like you to do the same as we kind of go through this video. There was a lot that happened in 2024 for me, and even just scrolling through my camera on my phone has shown how much has happened in 2024. Some of my highlights of 2024 have been doing my residencies at Oxford and attending 3 of those residencies in the last year. Another highlight has been setting up my beautiful home here in the Wicklow Mountains. And a massive highlight has been taking on the running and the co-ownership of Accepted Society and making that business grow and the community grow so much has been so fulfilling. There have also been some really difficult moments. The last couple of months, I felt myself completely burnt out at work and having to think about what my day job means to me and how much time and effort I want to put into it. My health has really been affected in the last year. I haven't had the time to set aside for exercise or for healthy eating, and I have found in and of myself that I have not been happy with my health. I think the evidence of me being sick at the end of the year is enough to show that I was on a treadmill of go the whole time, and the first moment that I got to relax, I got sick, And I think that's my body telling me that I needed to slow down long before I actually ended up slowing down. And then, of course, this all kind of culminated in me actually failing one of my master's assignments. And so there's been a lot of ups and downs in 2024, but I think what was amazing for me in 2024 is the fact that there was a lot of growth, and there was a lot of growth towards becoming the person that I eventually want to be. And that person is not the corporate Cait. That person is the academic Cait, and working in the academic space so much more profoundly. And I feel very, very happy and very privileged that all the hard work that I put in 2024 has gotten me so much closer to that goal, especially in 2025. But if I look at 2024, the word that I chose for last year was the word balance. And I don't think I actually achieved that last year. I think I was very off balance. I think I struggled last year. I think I struggled with the balance. I was either working full tilt, or 90% of the time I was working full tilt, and I did not look after myself, and I wasn't a very good friend or a family member. And that is something that I want to try and correct in 2025. So I want you to take a couple of minutes now just to reflect back on 2024. Try not to dwell on the lows as much as the highs, but I want you to identify those really defining moments in your life that have led you to where you are now, whether they be low or high, and see and recognize that journey that you have gone through in the last year, because it's incredible to see the changes that have happened in the last year. So I want you to take a moment to look back at 2024, look at those key pivotal moments in your life, appreciate them, even if they were lows or highs, appreciate them, be grateful for them, and take them as that stepping stone that is going to lead you into 2025 as the person that you are today. So going into 2025, I realized that I need to make some conscious decisions and some conscious steps towards ensuring that I am becoming the person that I want to be. 2024 has actually been a year of self-discovery for me in a lot of ways, and I am really excited to take those key points into 2025. So there's a few things that I've made a decision on in 2025. The first is that my day job is just that. It is a day job. I'm going to be very, very conscious about the fact that this job requires me to work a particular number of hours in a week, and once I've worked those hours, that is it. I work in the field that I work in has been incredibly taxing in the last year. As I mentioned before, I work in legal and compliance at Google. There have been a number of regulations that have come down the line that affect the company and its products, and so we have been very, very busy managing that in the last year. And I made a conscious decision towards the end of the year that this was just too much for me to manage. So I will be continuing my day job at Google, but I have actually accepted a different role in Google as a project manager. And this role is less sort of legal compliance focused, and will only require me to focus on one project at a time rather than 3 or 4 projects, which is what I'm currently doing in my day job. I have accepted this role and I'm really, really excited. I'm working with a fabulous team and I will continue to work in that role throughout the year. I have also been very, very honest with my management, and I have said to them that my master's dissertation, which is what I'll be writing this year, is my number one priority, and that it will require me to take time out to focus on that. And my manager and my management has been so supportive of that for me. And I think having those honest conversations, while really difficult, especially as a person that wants to do well in their job, even though it's not sort of the driver in their lives, this can be a scary moment. But I found that actually sitting down and being frank about those conversations has really been helpful. So I've accepted this new role. I think it's going to really help me to keep to my hours, my work hours, and allow me the time and the space to complete my master's dissertation. Speaking of my master's dissertation, this year is the year of my dissertation. We have 9 months to write our dissertations, and this might seem like a really, really long time, but it actually isn't that long to complete a dissertation. Our dissertations are 11,000 words, and they have to be completely, obviously, original research. And while I do have a really good idea for my dissertation, I will need to spend a fair bit of time building that out. In addition, we have our V-Days articles that we have to produce as a part of our master's cohort. Our V-Days journal articles, it's actually a really fantastic project. It's a project where we as the cohort produce a journal and we contribute the journal articles to the journal itself. I am part of the editorial committee. I'm actually the head of the editorial committee on our V-Days committee, and I feel very, very lucky for the opportunity to work in the space and get that academic journal experience, especially because this is something I desperately want to introduce into accepted society into the new year. That V-Days article we have to produce is something that it is an additional ask, but it is something that can then feed into the dissertation. And so that will be we have to submit that, I believe, by March of this year. So that will be my focus for the first half of the year. Prior to that, as you may have seen in my previous videos, I need to do my resubmission for one of my assignments. That's due at the end of January. So that's the first sort of goal point that I am looking at providing. And I think as I'm reflecting on all of these things, I want to highlight the fact that I have been using the planner insert in my Paper Republic journal. She is chunky this year, and I just love it so much. But this planner insert in the Paper Republic journal has these sort of monthly breakdowns where I've started putting in all the key sort of notes in all the key deadlines that I need to know for the year. So January is already starting to look like quite a busy month. I need to submit the abstract for my article by next Monday, which is very exciting. I'll be in London for a week for a work offsite, and I'll also spend some time with Kaylin while I'm there, and also see some of my friends while I'm there. And then I will need to be focusing on my assignment. And as I've kind of started to pull these dates in here, getting those little bits organized and pulling in those dates into a yearly tracker has been really helpful for me, just to actually ease my anxiety about all the things that I need to do. And I think when we have everything collected in our brains, it feels a lot bigger than it actually is. Whereas once I've started to write things down and I've started to reflect on things, then I start to see that actually these tasks aren't overwhelming and they're actually a lot easier to tackle. So a couple of key things that I know I will have to focus on, as I said, my resubmission at the end of January, my V-Days article submission, and then my dissertation submission in September. I actually have to submit my dissertation on my birthday, which I think is so fun. On top of all of this, I have submitted my PhD applications for my PhD. I am really hoping that I'll hear some outcome of that around March, and I think that's going to derive a lot of what the second half of this year will look like. And because of that, I'm not really focusing on anything beyond September and planning for that part of the year. There are quite a few things in the beginning of the year that I will plan for, but beyond actually knowing whether or not I will be accepted for a PhD is something that I am still waiting to hear. And when that PhD acceptance comes into play, I will have to then sit and make some decisions about my workload and what I want to do. And I think it is at that point that I will be able to clearly see what my year is going to look like. But I am certainly not going to put myself through the pressure of balancing a full-time job, co-owning a business, and studying at the same time. These last couple of months have been really hard and really difficult, and I don't want to do that to myself. I know that I am making steps to reduce that in the next couple of months, and I think the fact that I will be working independently on my dissertation is really going to help. I'm not going to be traveling to and from Oxford as much as I did in the first half of the year, but I think this is just going to be a lot more quiet of a year. I say that and I'm looking at my calendar and I'm just, I think it's going to be really quite intense. But I've also, so those are the work side of it, and then the studying side of it. On the accepted side of the business, there has been a lot of ideas that we have on things that we want to implement in the coming year. And there has been a lot that we've had to pull back on because of capacity, which I think is really amazing, that we have so much that we want to do and so much that we want to work on, but also things that we have to be very conscious of the fact that we can't always do those things. So, but that's not to say that we don't have exciting things coming down the line. And one of those exciting things is the launch of our PhD completion program. This is the PhD Done program. I'll leave a link to the information down below. This will be launching next week, and I'm so excited. We've got a PhD workshop that we are hosting, and I will leave all the information about that in the description box below if this is something that you would be interested in. It's being run by two of our incredible Accepted Society team members, Polly and Kalia, who've both completed their PhDs. They're both doctors, and I'm so excited for this program. I think it's really, really fantastic. It's something we wanted to do for ages, and I'm just very happy about it. The second thing that we will be doing in Accepted Society is releasing a fellows membership. This fellows membership will allow you to have access to one-on-one time with members of the accepted team like myself, Kaylin, and possibly Katie. I will leave all the information of this in the description box below, but these are all things that we've been working on in the background. I will also be working on revamping the Key to Accepted admissions program. I think this was a really fantastic pilot that I ran at the end of the year, and I am excited to develop it into something that's a lot more sustainable in the future. And yeah, so that is the plan. Those are the plans that we have for Accepted at the moment. There's obviously a lot more that I want to do in this space, but at this point in time, that is the capacity reach that I have. And I think this is so important, is to highlight the fact that you need to understand where your boundaries lie. Right now, I know that that is where my boundaries are. And as much as I want to do so much more, I just can't at this stage. And so that is where I've drawn my boundaries. So now I've spoken about my work, I've spoken about my studies, and I've spoken about Accepted. The other thing that I wanted to pull in, and one thing that I think is so important that people don't consider in prepping for 2025, is actually scheduling in breaks for yourself. So I have been trying to schedule in time where I will either go away or times where I have to travel or things like that. And I'm trying to actually now, even in January, trying to plan time in the year to spend with my friends and my family so that I can actually have that in the calendars and be prepared for it when it comes around. So, for example, the first week of March, my sister's getting married, and so I will be traveling to South Africa to be with her and be a bridesmaid in her wedding, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. And so I will want to plan some time with my family that's there and try and plan some time to see friends while I am out in South Africa for my sister's wedding. I also know that we've got a master's conference in Oxford in the middle of March, and I would love to be able to attend that if I can, but I also know that I would have just gotten back from a trip, and I don't want to push myself so that I tire myself out from traveling, which is something that I did last year as well. I really pushed myself and I really tired myself out from traveling. If possible, however, I will try and be in Oxford in the middle of March and maybe spend some time in the libraries there. I also want to do, I think during the summer I'm going to try and do it, but I want to do an extended trip to Oxford a couple of weeks before my dissertation is due, so that I can get a significant amount of time in at the libraries and that I can really focus in on my dissertation. So that I want to put into my calendars and what I want to put it into plan in 2025. I feel like this video has been very, very haphazard, but essentially the steps that I have taken for my 2025 reset, and I'll put them up here so that you can see, is reflecting on 2024, looking at those pivotal moments in 2024 that have led you here, and accepting those moments, being grateful for those moments, whether they're highs or lows, and accepting that they have gotten you here to the start of 2025. Feel free to journal them, feel free to write them down, feel free to just sit with them in and of yourself and let them be a part of who you are. Then we're going to look ahead into 2025. I've identified particular points that I need to achieve in 2025 across my sort of three work, I'm going to call them work pillars. But the first is my day job, the second is my master's, and the third is Accepted. And by identifying those particular dates and those particular deadlines, I'm then able to discern where I can pull in, where I need to put in the effort on which pillar at which particular time. So right now, being January, I know that I need to transition some work over, and I can focus on that transition, but that my focus is also on my resubmission at the end of January and getting my V-Days article prepped and drafted. The third thing that we looked at was actually scheduling some time in for rest and reconnection and fun with your friends and family. Put in trips, even if they're in draft at this point, put in trips into your calendar that you would like to take and identify the time of year that you could take them. I think it's really important to have those spaces locked in at this point, even if you don't end up using them. By having those spaces locked in, you are protecting your time and your space and your boundaries. And I think that's so, so important. The last thing that I want to talk about is my plans for this channel. And this is very broad, and I'm sure it will change throughout the year, but I have absolutely loved making content on this space, and I am so excited to continue to do that. I love making bookish content. I love making academic content. I would love to make a lot more sort of country living content. I would also like to use this channel to engage with this community in a lot more ways. So I'm thinking of doing lecture series, for example, on English literature that I think might be really interesting for people. I would also love to do book engagement with the community. I know a lot of people off the back of my 2025 TBR video want to do buddy reads, and maybe there's a way for me to do that through a membership tier in this community. And if this is something that you're interested in, please do let me know in the comments. It'd be really great to gauge whether this is something that people would want to see, because I would love to engage with you so much more than what I'm currently doing. And that's it. I hope this 2025 research has shown you that you don't have to have everything planned out or all the answers set out for 2025. One step at a time, and to enjoy this process of transformation that is happening in 2025. I wish you all a happy, happy new year, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks. Bye.